Okay, well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining on this public holiday in Japan, Ocean Day. Tonight, we're really lucky. So it's our first edition for our Eco Talk. So tonight is the one called Social Change Through Storytelling. We have two documentary project teams tonight. So we have Sibila and Clementine from Plastic Love, and also Pierre and Chin from Wara Nihon. Yes, both of them, in fact, if you didn't already know, they are currently doing a crowdfunding campaign. So that's why we chose this timing to support both projects. I suggest that we start with both teams are going to present themselves. And after that, we're going to have an open discussion where I will ask some questions. So feel free to, if you have any questions popping up in your mind, to put them in the chat box. Otherwise, at the very end, we're going to have a real Q&A where you can ask your questions directly to them. And we're going to start with Wara Nihon, so Pierre and Chin. And by the way, they are our newest and first nomad ecolocal ambassadors. So we're really happy. Thank you so much. So we currently we have about 25 ambassadors throughout Japan for Ecolocal. So people that are really doing great projects or it's a eco lifestyle and already inspiring us. Yes. So I will leave it to you, Pierre and Chin, so you can tell us more about Wara Nihon.
Okay, we are planning to make the documentary about to discover the primitive Japan. And the idea came from because I have lived here for quite long. So I found out Tokyo is just a part of Japan. And Pierre just came here 1.5 years. And he didn't really know what is the real face or the other side of Japan. So we often talk about, if we go to countryside, if we go to somewhere else, maybe there's something different from what the city life. Then we start to think about how about to discovering by ourselves. So mostly it's we are thinking to build our own mobile house because we were traveling, before we are traveler, we travel a lot, but mostly we're a backpacker. And now we are two, and we want like a base and also to meet people to continue our activities. So we were thinking maybe the mobile house is a good idea. And so we were trying to build it because we found out the camping car is too expensive. Also, it was not designed for us. It's too common, it's too many useless function for us. So we want something simple, maybe use a recycling material, and also trying to use less resource from the daily life to continue the travel. And also we want to see the people we meet and the culture we discovered, how they influenced us. So this is the idea. So about the name Wara Nihon, mostly is from the book, the One Straw Revolution, something like this. Like Fukuoka-san, he wrote maybe in the 60s of last century, talking about the natural farming. So when I read this book, I was a little bit it changed my perspective. We found out our human being maybe did too much things on the earth. Actually, if we we are more humble or respectful to the nature, let the nature work by itself, maybe the world should be more beautiful. So we start to think about at the beginning, maybe we go to discover the wala, the straw, the natural farming. Then later we found that we are two. So also we hope after half century, there's more people they are influenced or they are interested by this kind of philosophy. So we decided to call our project Wara Nihon. And at the same time, it's we want to see more smiling Japanese, or the whole country can have a smile on their face. So it's from two straws to smiling Japan. This is our wish during this journey. Then just like a little bit introduce ourselves. For me, because before I was a very normal person, like went to work, come back home, sleep, like the very routine life. Then I start to think about what is the meaning and how can I change it. So I quit my job. I went to the opposite side of Japan. So I really want to have a very simple life, and I start to live on the mountain by myself. Don't use the electricity. Don't use the internet. Then I start to find out the nature. We really already receive a lot of things from the nature, from the earth. It's like in South America, people call it Pachamama. It's like nature has everything. We don't need to really overtaking some resource. So this is my like a big impact in my life. Then I start to think this kind of spirit of traveler. If I don't forget it, I put it in my daily life, and life should be simple. So I start to have many ideas, even create a mobile gallery, or even like think about every place. We just stay very short time. We don't try to process too many things. Life should be simple. Yeah. And then it's about Pierre, because I met Pierre in Myanmar, and he quit his job and become a documentary filmmaker, and just joined kind of like NPO to make a very beautiful documentary. It calls the... Huh?
I can do it.
Okay, you see.
Yeah, I was a journalist in France before, and I quit my job, and I sold my house to go in south of France to help one association who made interview and videos about positive action and positive people in France. From there, we direct as the documentary Artist of Life in France, came out in French cinema. And after, I decided to create my own company, production of documentary company. My idea was to travel a little bit around the world to help people who need uh, to help them and make a movie about them. So I started my project in Nepal, in a minimalist farm in mountains, and after I continue in India in an alternative school, and I met Chinru in Myanmar. That's where we met. Mm. Okay, so from there I joined Chinru in Japan. So we arrived, both of us arrived in Japan just with one bag. We didn't have any place where we can stay. We didn't have any job. So little by little we built something, but we didn't want to uh, to build a normal life. Normal life, it means to work a lot and to just sleep, work, and eat. It was not our idea. So we tried to find just part-time job, simple place where we can stay, and to do many things by ourselves to stay a creator of our life, doing gardening, creating our clothes, or being volunteering in different activities. So in front of our house, we create a small garden, and in the street we harvest biwa leaves and biwa fruits for eating, or for the medicine, or for tea. We found out of Tokyo a farm to get organic product without plastic every 2 weeks. We also harvest some kaki in the public park in Tokyo. This is our way of life in Tokyo. So we decided to stop this because it was not enough. We want more. We want to go further. We want to join, to learn from people outside. So we decided to create our mobile house in Yulu Yulu Eco Village in Kanagawa's prefecture. So Chingru made the sketch already. So soon we will get the truck, and next month we will go to build with recycling material our mobile house. So Yulu Yulu will be also the first step of our documentary. So we want to make a documentary about people who realize themselves, who found their calling, who live a simple life, who are happy. So we want to discover first Yulu Yulu Eco Village. It will be so in Kanagawa's prefecture. This place was found by Hiryu, an artist, a Japanese artist, 15 years ago. So he built this place with recycling material, and he created many things about this place. Yeah, he created a workshop, theater, he created gardening, create yeah, many different things. So we want to discover him and his activities. And the second example of people we want to discover, it's Yu-san and his wife Megumi in Nagano's prefecture. Yeah, this person started 20 years ago to build his small paradise. Yeah, small paradise in nature also. He started by his house, and after he create many different things like a compost toilet, like a yacht, like yeah, many art, dancing building, yeah, many different things. So that we want to discover also. And what we are, why we want to discover this place also, it's because this person, Yu-san, is a very positive and smiling person. He is smiling maybe 90% of the day, and we want to understand why this person is so happy living a simple life. That's all.
Yes. So Pierre and Chin, thank you so much for this introduction presentation. So now I would let Clementine and Sibla to present their documentary as well.
Thank you so much, guys. That was super interesting. I'm excited to see your documentary film when it comes out.
Yeah, thank you so much. That looks awesome. Great. All right, well, let me share my screen and we'll go ahead and tell you guys a little bit more about Plastic Love. Sorry, going in reverse. So thank you so much. Yeah, so my name is Clementine Nuttall and I'm the producer of Plastic Love, which is a new documentary about Japan's plastic waste issue that is coming in 2022. So tonight, myself and director Sibylla Patrizia are so happy to join our fellow documentary filmmakers Wara Nihon and Ecolocal for this evening's event. Of course, we really believe in the power of storytelling for social change, which is why this evening's discussion, I'd like to share our new trailer with you and then just share a little bit about our story, where the film has come from, what we're up to right now, and where we're heading with it. So let me introduce to you Sibylla, who is usually behind the camera, and she will share with you our trailer this evening. And you can also follow the link on the Zoom chat if your internet is a little bit wobbly. So I'll let you then share the trailer with me.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Sibylla Patrizia. I'm an Austrian documentary filmmaker and photographer, and I live in Japan. And I'm the director of Plastic Love, a documentary film that we're currently making. And as Clementine said, it's going to come out in 2022. We just released our trailer. I think I'll just play it to you so that it's easier to explain what our film is about. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. And as Clementine also mentioned, maybe for some people the internet connection is not very good, so please feel free to head to Vimeo. The link is in the chat box there, and you can also watch the trailer there if you like. Okay, let me just make sure that I'm sharing everything. If it's not very good quality, then I apologize, and please watch the trailer afterwards, but I'm going to go ahead and share now. Please enjoy.
「ゴミっていうのは今の私たちの社会とか経済の仕組みのエラーだと思っています。
固体のゴミあるいは液体のゴミを燃やすことによって資源なくして、ですからゴミは見えなくなっただけであっていわゆるなくなったわけじゃなしに気体のゴミになってる。あるいは気体のゴミになったものが何かというと今の地球温暖化気候変動につながっているということで。
だからリサイクルすればいいっていうことでは決してないですね。交通口で物を作って捨てるということではなくて、一度資源を取って物を作るのであれば、そのものが社会の中でずっと使われ続けるように循環させる仕組みに変えていこうと。
このままの状態ではいけないというのが思ってます。
All right, I'm just going to stop sharing this. Thank you everybody for watching. As I said, if you had trouble maybe with the connection or maybe it didn't sound good, please head to Vimeo and watch it again later. Thank you. And I'm giving back to Clementine. Clem, I think you're muted still.
Mute myself. Yeah, thank you, Sibylla. So can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the trailer. So I just want to give you a bit more background about the film, where it's come out of. So I'm originally from Britain and Sibylla is from Austria. I came to Japan with a rather specific and unusual goal to research kintsugi, which is the art of repairing ceramics with gold. This is an art form that is not only attractive, it also demonstrates the value of reuse, repair, and resilience that are so essential for the environmental movement. So it was here that I met my good friend and our director, Sibylla, and we began working together to make a short documentary about kintsugi. We're both really passionate about traditional Japanese culture and connected by trying to find new ways to communicate its value. After completing the film, it went on to show at film festivals around the world. At that same time, I attended a masterclass with Kazumi Morose, who became not only the inspiration for the project, but ultimately one of our most important and unusual interviewees. Morose has the rare status of living national treasure in Japan for his lifetime spent in the urushi lacquer arts. He told us this: we all have a responsibility. Artists have a responsibility. We know that the environment is in danger. we know that microplastics populate our oceans. We must consider how to use our art for action. So I left that knowing that we should reconceive our relationship with material culture if we are to break free from negative relationships we have with plastic. In Japanese lacquer, we have a rare example of a naturally occurring plastic where the material is cherished and single use would be an act of inconceivable waste. So later that week, Sibylla and I were screening our film Unbroken in a gallery in Tokyo. And as we sat out on the rooftop, looking over our adopted city, we knew what we had to do, and Plastic Love was born. In Tokyo, you reach out your hand in any direction, you touch plastic. It's everywhere. It lines our homes, it fills every shop, it decorates our brightly lit streets. In supermarkets, it's hard to find products that aren't wrapped at least once in plastic. If you walk around the aisles, single bananas, single potatoes, single lemons, single strawberries, they all have plastic wrapping. At convenience stores that are on every street corner in Tokyo, we buy our plastic lunch boxes, plastic sweets, pet bottle drinks. There are an estimated 5 million vending machines that relentlessly blink and beep all across Japan. They're spitting out 23 billion plastic bottles every year. That's 64 million bottles a day, 2.6 million bottles an hour, 44,000 bottles a minute, or 740 bottles a second. So we started making Plastic Love in the autumn of 2019, and we've spent a full year doing nothing but research into the global and Japanese plastic waste issue. What we realized pretty quickly was that the plastic waste issue is incredibly complex and much more complicated than we ever thought possible. There are a lot of micro issues with the plastic issues, such as waste management systems, microplastics in the ocean, harmful chemicals in plastic, incineration producing a lot of CO2. Having researched almost all of the subtopics relating to plastic in Japan over the last year and a half, I can honestly say I still don't fully understand the problem and all of the issues. We're not scientists, nor are we activists, but we are artists, and we think that what we can bring to the table is the power of art, and in this case, filmmaking, so that all of these complex topics and solutions can come together in one visual format that anybody can understand, anyone can enjoy, and anyone can be moved by. We've filmed Plastic Love since last October and are still filming right now. In this journey, we filmed all kinds of incredible places, such as the beautiful island of Tsushima, where there are lots of plastic waste washing ashore each year. The beautiful zero waste aiming town of Kamikatsu in Tokushima. We've witnessed tons of waste getting dumped and burnt into incinerators. We've gone to landfill sites in Yokohama where incinerator ash is being used to create new land. And we are still trying to understand Japan's plastic waste issue from the bottom up. So starting with how plastic is made, how it's used, and then all the way to end of life, sorting, incineration, recycling, landfilling, and also plastic waste ending up in the environment. We believe that by fully understanding what the underlying issues are, we can take the necessary steps and target each individual issue gradually, changing one thing at a time and moving from a system where things are linear and get wasted to a circular one where materials are kept in a system without producing any waste. So we're so looking forward to sharing our film and our vision for a more zero waste world in 2022. And until then, we're obviously still fundraising, we're still filming, and we're still meeting key stakeholders who understand the issue. So thank you so much for listening, everybody. Stop sharing now.
Yes. Thank you so much, Clementine. That was really interesting. I love your trailer. It's the second time I see it.
Thank you.
Like the third time because you sent it to me earlier.
Thank you for watching.
Yes. So okay, I get we can now start like an open discussion, and so everyone feel free to drop your questions in the chat box. Otherwise, you can also ask them after these questions that we have prepared for you guys. So you already, I think, kind of answered this question when you were presenting your projects, but it would be good, like kind of a good reminder for us to understand. So both of you, like what motivated you the most, like when you started these projects? So what was your biggest motivation to start a documentary project? Who would like to start?
You answer, no? You are making. You answer. No, you are the director.
Okay, I start. The motivation for our documentary is not only about our documentary, it's a global project. It means we don't want only to make a documentary, but we want to make an experience of life first. So this experience of life will provide us the opportunity to make a documentary. But first, we want to learn from people who live a simple life, in sobriety, in a happy life. And so we want to visit this person, we want to help them, we want to live a slow life. And by this way, we will make a documentary to try to inspire others, people to share with others.
Great. So you're going to first live this experience and then like really like share it with others through your documentary.
Yeah.
Great. How about you, Sibila and Clementine?
Should I go next? Yeah, I mean, inspired by a lot of things, but I guess maybe two main points, at least for me personally.
Yes.
So the first one was just the fact that, you know, when I first came to Japan about 5 years ago, Japan was always sort of shown as like this amazing example of a country that recycles a lot and is very eco-conscious. But my experience actually when I came here was that, for example, in the case of plastic or really anything, that most of my waste would go into the burnable trash bin. And then also Japan having so much single waste, single-use plastic, like Clementine was showing earlier, where single, you know, fruit and vegetables are wrapped in a way that it's just so unnecessary. That just made me sort of think, you know, again about all these things that I heard in the media and from other people. And I started digging deeper also with Clementine, and we just found out so many things. And we just realized how incredibly complex the plastic waste issue is with all the micro topics. And I think that it's really, really difficult to understand for most people and to grasp really, you know, what are the things that are going wrong. And then, so the second point is then for me as a filmmaker, and I'm sure this happens to a lot of people, but I'm sure most people out there can think of at least one film, whether it's a documentary or a fiction film or a YouTube video, that has changed the way they think about something or that has taught them something that they didn't know before. And I think filmmaking has this incredible power to reach so many people. And just combining this power of art, the power of filmmaking to convey something that's really important to us, you know, to show these environmental issues. I think, you know, we just thought that, okay, like Clementine said, we're not scientists, we're not activists, but we are artists, and this is something we can do. And hopefully that our film can inspire other people like we have been inspired by other people's films.
Wonderful. Yes, true storytelling. Did you want to add anything, Clementine?
Yeah, no, I mean, really just to add to that point, that it's that building of literacy. When it comes to material, we all learn to read throughout our lifetimes, you know, same with nature, same with our connection to, for example, some of the scientists that we've spoken to have spoken a lot about ocean literacy. Just this idea that if you understand the ocean, if you can read it, then you care about it because you understand it and you know how to connect with it. We talk a lot when we're making our film about material literacy, the same idea that if you look at a material and you understand it, you will change your relationship with it and your relationship will become better.
Exactly, that's right. If I can just add like especially about plastic. So today, just to share my thought about plastic also in Japan and like how maybe we're lacking information, and these are great way to communicate these information. But so I was in Zushi today also to prepare our next eco shop along in August there, and it was really hot, so I went for a swim. And yeah, sadly, I tried to swim, but I was more like focused on all the plastic trash like sticking on my body. So I just ended up like picking the trash in the ocean. So that's the sad reality also in Japan, that we are not always aware. And also I was so happy when I found like plastic-free bananas.
Wow, you have to show me where that is. I've never seen plastic-free bananas in Japan.
Well, yes, we're going to add all those stores on our map, on our website, the Ecolocal website. But yes, I mean, in Canada, I never like reacted like this when I see like, they are always plastic free, but in Japan, I'm always like overreacting with joy. Yeah, so today I have like great veggies that were all like zero waste, plastic free, and they tried to put them in the plastic bag and I had to refuse like many times. Yes, so that's the reality in Japan. Okay, so our next question was more about like using documentaries. How do you think documentaries can help raise awareness, and what do you think are their impacts compared to other ways to communicate? Yes, who would like to go first?
I don't know.
The director say he doesn't know. So I need to find a reason for him. So I will try. Yeah, actually, I think it's like I think art is a universal language. I mean, the art. I mean, painting, music, everything. But we are in 21st century. You know, we use technology. We watching video, YouTube. These kind of things help people to know more information. So documentary is just a media mixed with video, sound, so many things, and also it's a true story. It's really what happened around us. So if we can present people what happened around us, and it means it's real, and people feel closer, and even just see some pictures, the videos, we don't need to really use language, because we have so many different foreign language. So maybe it can bring everybody together, or just make the common sense, or share the same value together, and it is efficient also. I think this is what I'm understanding documentary.
Great. No, that's a great, I mean, that's great. And I feel like, as you said, like art is a universal language. And just, for example, like when I watched the trailer from Plastic Love, like with the music, the images, like it's really like triggering me. Like I feel so motivated and kind of like, yes, we can do it. Like kind of, yes. Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, it's basically everyone, and like anyone out there can understand it, I feel like, because sometimes it just takes something, to find like a path to people's hearts, because I think most people out there are somewhat aware already of the environmental issues. I mean, we talk about climate change all the time and sustainability all the time, but sometimes it just takes you to see the visuals, to hear those personal stories of people. And music is something incredibly powerful with which you can convey so many emotions. And, I think things like, what we're doing, at least in our film, we also have a lot of, statistics and studies from scientists that we're sort of referencing, and we're talking to scientists, for example. But, oftentimes I find that for regular people, it's really difficult to get that connection to, these numbers that are so incredibly important for us to understand, right? And I think that art and filmmaking can sort of create a bridge between all these different things, like science and technology and activism and, nature. And that's a medium that, like only few others that I think can do that. So yeah, definitely very powerful, I think.
Indeed, so powerful. You want to add something, Clementine?
I think just to add the experience of being the documentary filmmaker, you live the documentary. It has been our lives for the last 2 years, this documentary. And so just in terms of how we all educate ourselves these days, how we obtain and share and duplicate knowledge, the value of long form, the value of something that people have poured their lives into over a long period to ensure that they are really imparting their truest version of what is happening to you. I think it can't be underestimated. We deal with so much knowledge day to day, and how we actually process that is becoming increasingly complicated. I think when it comes to documentary film, again, of course, you must always treat everything with a critical mind, but you know, when it comes to a film that lasts that long and has been made over that long, that people have made it with passion and that they are trying their best to really share with you the truth as they see it, as they found it.
Yeah, that's right. And yes, from what you all said, I also feel like we can read a lot, we can hear a lot of stories, but like having the documentary to kind of like showing us also with the images and like about those projects, like those eco villages, like we can hear about, but to actually see how they look, how they function, they look like, or how the amount of plastic that you just in your trailer you show, that's really powerful, as Sibila said. Okay, so our next question is more specific to Japan. So what are some ways for those who can't speak Japanese so fluently to get involved with these communities? Like from what you experienced so far, do you have any advice? Who goes first?
Can you repeat, please?
Yes, I will repeat. So from what you experienced so far, because I think you, especially you, Pierre and Chin, like you already started like meeting a lot of communities and people in Japan. So do you have any advice for those who can't speak Japanese fluently, how to help them to get involved and connected with these communities?
Oh, you mean the language problem?
Yeah, how about like the language barrier? Do you have any advice?
Yeah, actually, it's like we are the example because Pierre doesn't speak Japanese. So every time maybe people were saying, oh, because with me, he can understand people better. But actually, very interesting thing is sometimes he doesn't understand the language itself. He just he feel the energy, he feel the vibe. So he knows very well. And then he can find the people he really can become friends just by himself, not by me actually. So my advice is like maybe less think about is a difficulty, just go to experience to feel, and there is something beyond the language itself. I think this is my answer.
Yeah, this is the energy mostly.
Yeah, you feel like oh, maybe he's like my brother, or he's like my friend from my childhood, and something you really feel. And I think people, they have the same value or the same way or similar way of life. They can sense each other. They can feel the vibration very naturally. Yeah.
Yes. And I feel just like, as you said, like go there, experience, and also just like smile is a great way to communicate as well. Unfortunately, like I really miss people smile like under the mask. Yeah.
But in these communities, nobody wears a mask.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't wear mask also.
Yes. Do you have anything to add, Sibila and Clementine?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think, yeah, the language barrier is definitely an issue in Japan. I think that keeps a lot of people from getting involved in certain things. I mean, I can say that from our experience, everybody that we've talked to has been incredibly kind and welcoming. People in Japan are so nice. And sometimes it just takes, you to sort of reach out to them because, maybe for a lot of Japanese people as well, they're worried about them not speaking English, but as soon as you approach them and you sort of start breaking the ice, they're so welcoming. They just want to share, everything with you. And we've had only the best experiences, I think. And also, having said that, actually in the sustainability community in Japan, there are a lot of people who speak English. And we've had, incredible experiences so far with different Facebook groups that are out there, for example, Social Innovation Japan or Zero Waste Japan, that you can join, and you can get a lot of information about events that are happening in Japan all the time that are very English friendly. There are a lot of people who are bilingual and a lot of, you know, non-Japanese who are working in this field in Japan. So, you know, reach out to those groups, reach out to those people. I mean, you guys, what are you doing? Karina at Ecolocal is one of the good examples. And so we're really grateful that there are so many actually resources out there.
Indeed, there are, yes.
Yeah, we've really been a bilingual operation from the start with Plastic Love. You know, our team is international. And I really think that stems from the fact that this is a global issue that we're looking at. And so when we're talking about the issue in Japan, it is of course not because it is a Japanese issue, it is because Japan is our home. So this is where we are working, but we're looking outside of its borders and we're having conversations, you know, with experts internationally as well, because it is a conversation that has to cross boundaries. It has to be translingual. We have to find a way of communicating it, regardless of our language, regardless of our backgrounds.
Exactly. So I just saw that Gina shared in the chat box just 350 eigo. So 350 is, yes, an NPO in Japan, well, in Japan and around the world, in fact. So, so I didn't know they have like a kind of an English branch, I guess. Interesting. I'll just ask a last question before we go to see if anyone has more question in the participants. So our last question was, what are you hoping the biggest takeaways people will get from your documentary? Yes, Pierre and Chin?
We have a problem with our earphone, I think.
With our brain, I think.
Our brain, maybe.
No, it's not the earphone. Yeah, sorry.
So, do you want me to repeat the question?
I changed the volume a little. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, maybe if I talk louder. So what are you hoping the biggest takeaways people will get from your documentary? Yeah.
Too professional, this kind of question for us, maybe.
We will listen the others answer first.
Okay. So yeah, for a change, let's hear Sibylla and Clementine first.
Okay, maybe I'll go first from my perspective, and I also want to hear what Clementine will say. Yeah, so for me personally, my biggest wish is actually that people will understand that the plastic waste issue is actually not about plastic at all. It's about how all of us, you know, treat or source materials from this earth, and how we, you know, use things in a very linear way where we spend a lot of energy getting, you know, resources and materials, and we use them for a very short amount of time just to then throw them away and pollute the environment. And that really the plastic issue is an issue of all the resources on earth, and how we've built a system that just doesn't really work for the planet. And we need to really rethink, you know, our society, our economy in a much bigger way to create more of a circular economy. And that really the main goal is not to necessarily recycle everything, but to first reduce the amount of waste we produce overall by being smarter, by being more creative. And humans can do this, but we need to, you know, rethink and redesign a lot of the way we do things at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially regarding recycling in Japan, like I got fooled as well when I first moved here. I need to confess, and it's even more motivating now that I know the whole picture. Yes, Clementine.
Yeah, I really, just to build on what Sibylla is saying, just that notion of whenever anything comes into your remit, whenever you are holding anything, just to be able to ask the question, where has it come from? How am I going to live with it? And where is it going once I'm done with it? That should really be built into the design of every single thing that we come in contact with if we're going to step into that circularity.
Yes.
So that would be my greatest hope, is just to be able to see it, to be able to read the thing that comes into your remit.
Yes, exactly. To think about the whole loop. It's not going to go into space or like just disappear.
Exactly. It doesn't get thrown away. There is no away.
Yes, it will end up somewhere. And sometimes, sadly, it's just shipped to like other countries. Yes.
Yeah, so often.
Yeah.
Really sad. Yes, so Pierre and Chin, are you inspired?
Yeah, okay. yeah, no, I understood. So yeah, it's like something, because we are often watching some movie or documentary, and we don't want it just like when you finished, you give a like something. Just give a like, oh, good, like bravo. Maybe because we are ordinary person, we are part of the documentary. We want the people, one day they watch our documentary, they want to take action. Like they know how to take action, or where, or why. There are many questions. Like for example, they will say, okay, I can contact your guys. Maybe I'm interested in this kind of in industry or whatever, and then you can introduce us to this community or whatever. It's like I want people really do something, not just maybe watching in front of the screen. It's like it make people aware. You have to take some, like even small action, just start it. The first step. Maybe this is what we hope.
And we want to do it by transferring like energy by the documentary. Yeah, we live in Tokyo for 1 year and a half, and we have this energy a little to take action. We used to take action for different things, and we discovered that our energy is contagious. It means
contagious.
Indeed.
Or good impact, you can say.
Contagious is not good by COVID. Yeah, COVID moment. Okay. Just contagious because we discovered many of our friends, they start to take action just being with us and just showing us. So it means if people take action, around other people will take action.
Yes. Oh yes, I think I feel the same about like sharing that energy to kind of inspire people to really take action.
Yeah.
Yes. It can be any small changes, but just like, yeah, one step at a time. That's great. Okay, thank you so much. So I was wondering if anyone, you can feel free to open your video so we can see your beautiful smile without mask. And if you want to ask questions directly to Plastic Love and Wara Nihon, you can also just type them in the chat box, and I will gladly read them to everyone. So does anyone have a question?
I don't necessarily have a question. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
I just want to say that I love what you guys are doing, and I'm so happy that you're doing it. I'm so happy you made Plastic Love. And I want to get involved, and I don't know how to do it yet. So I'm just gonna, I guess, just add you on Facebook and see what I can do from there. I also live in Tokyo.
That's great. Yes, I was going to ask, where are you based?
Yeah, Tokyo.
Okay.
Yeah, please get in touch. Please feel free to get in touch with us.
Okay, I will do.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Does anyone else? Yeah, it doesn't need to be indeed a question. It can be a comment about how you feel tonight after this talk.
What I'm going to be doing is just to try and get in touch with the community, as well as doing like woofing, like during the summer.
Oh, nice. Yes, woofing. Yes, I've done it too in Japan. Do you have already an idea of an area you want to go?
I found a place in Gunma. There's just, yeah, so he invited me for like 2 weeks, so I'm gonna do that from August. Pretty excited.
Great.
It's my first time.
Great, nice. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
Yes.
And Pierre, what is Yulu Eco Village is in Kanagawa?
Yes.
Yes. And
Haizai Eco Village. Haizai Eco Village.
Okay, maybe
you do.
I can share their Instagram in the chat box.
Okay, thank you so much.
And by the way, every month they do an open day kind of observation tour, and I'll try to join the next one in August, just for your information.
And you also, sorry, I'm so sorry. You mentioned you're going to do an event in Nakano.
Yes, this Saturday, and we have only 2 spots left.
Well, for what?
So it's our Eco Chapelon. So it's a small group of participants, and you bring your containers, your eco bags, and we have prepared for you guys a tour of like eco shopping. So we go through local stores like miso, tofu store, and they kind of put the product directly in your container, so just no waste. It feels so good. Or sometimes we visit like plant-based like stores or organic stores, and usually we finish in a cafe with a nice drink, nice chat. And but this time it's a private, we have managed to get like a private restaurant. I mean, the lady offered us to book the restaurant for only our group, and it's we're really thankful because of the state of emergency as well. So we'll be like spread out, and it's going to be all safe. Yes, so that's in Nakano this Saturday from 10 a.m. And you can register using our PTX link that I can also share in the chat.
Okay, yeah, please send that.
Yes.
So I have a quick question, if that's okay. So I live in Sendai, and that's very different than Tokyo. How do you find eco villages and things that are more in like places that are more environmentally minded outside of Tokyo? I know Pierre, like you guys have been exploring kind of all around Japan. How did you make some of those contacts and like find different organizations?
Actually, we don't know anything about Sendai until now, but we are going to discover by ourselves. But the thing is like mostly I don't know. It's like I will search whatever I want online. If I found their email or Facebook, I just direct to ask. And sometimes now they use Instagram directly, so you can send their message through Instagram, just because you have your account, they can see what you are doing. So maybe they are interested or something. And if they don't answer, I will just call. I just call and say who I am and what I want to do. And mostly I received a positive answer. So for contact, it's mostly like you just be very positive to ask.
Can I maybe add something to that? Actually, we worked with an organization in our film called Zero Waste Japan, which is led by a lady called Akira Sakano. She's Japanese, but she can also speak English fluently. And they work with all kinds of small and big communities all across Japan to help them transition to sort of a more zero waste lifestyle. And they know a lot of people. So if you get in touch with them, I'm sure they would be able to give you some tips of maybe something that's in your area or places that are trying to sort of move towards sustainability. I really recommend getting in touch with them.
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your question. So in fact, I just saw the time. Well, we started like a little later, so we can continue. But if some of you need to go, please feel free. And I just wanted to say a big thank you for joining us tonight. But we can still, like, if you still have time, do you still have a few more minutes?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay, so we can continue if you have any other questions or comment or thoughts to share. Otherwise I have.
Can I just meet you on Saturday? And I don't know, like I'm not able to do this online for some reason.
Ah, you mean the PTIX? You're not able to register?
Yeah. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I'll figure it out.
You can also like reach to us through, for example, our Ecolocal Instagram account, and we can also discuss, see how we can do it.
Sorry, off topic.
No worries. If you can find us, Ecolocal with K, not C's, and we can just figure out. But yes, you can join us on the spot.
Good day.
Yes, Clementine.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it was just a comment really, that one of the reasons I was very happy to be sharing this evening with Pierre and Chin was because of this interest that they have in Fukuoka-san and the One Straw Revolution. It's been very influential actually in British permaculture gardening and cottage gardening even as well. So I came to Japan already aware of Fukuoka-san, but I hadn't made the connection between the value of this type of gardening and specifically the value of composting and the plastic issue. Because one of the things that we've realized as we go to incinerator after incinerator is that part of the necessity of having this different balance of paper, plastics in incinerators, and therefore disincentivizing the need to get plastics out of incinerators and into legitimate recycling techniques, is because we have all of this wet food waste going into incinerators. So one unexpected avenue that you can take to really challenge the plastics issue is composting, because the less food going into your burnable waste, the less plastic is therefore necessary to make it burn.
Very interesting. Thank you, Clementine. Yes, I know like some of you maybe are doing composting, even in the cities on our balconies. I myself like started worm composting this summer. I have new family members. They're a little picky sometimes.
May I ask a question that I've always wondered? Where does the plastic come from in Japan? Like, where is it produced? Like the bottling companies and stuff.
Well, the oil, so most plastic is made from oil or gas, and Japan has very little of that. So the oil, first of all, has to be imported from somewhere else. And I think it's usually from Middle East. And then once the oil gets to Japan, Japan produces plastic, but also imports plastic from other countries around the world, including China, all across. So it's a lot of shipping across the world to even get, you know, to produce the plastic. Yeah, it's not all produced in Japan.
Yes.
Can I also ask a very random plastic question? Ever since I've come to Japan, I've wondered, like, what is the reasoning behind kind of every single individual vegetable being wrapped in single-use plastic? Is there some sort of cultural thing? I've heard from some of my students that it's like you're getting a gift. What have you guys found in your research so far, if anything?
Yeah, we actually ask this question to almost all of the interviewees that we meet, and we basically get the same answer pretty much every time. But it's sort of a combination of a few different things. One is that Japan has a long culture of wrapping and wrapping things very artfully and very beautifully, and sort of thinking of like either the person you're giving a gift to or your customers, and that you want to create the best possible experience for them. So over the last few decades, the packaging material has changed to plastic. It looks kind of, you know, at first maybe nice and sort of luxurious. And if something is wrapped several times, then it also means that you take really great care of whatever you're giving to someone else, whether you're a store giving it to a customer or giving it to a person. And then also, I guess Japan has a very high standard or sense for hygiene. And, you know, maybe that also, you know, the plastic sort of gives off this very sort of sterile, clean clean vibe to it. And you have this omiyage culture, maybe that you're familiar with, where you know, Japanese people love to buy like a box of cookies when they go traveling and then give it to their coworkers or friends. And then that's why each one is wrapped individually, because it's very easy to give it out to people. But I think that originally it stems from this sort of wish to create, you know, something special or give something special to someone else, or really show like, you know, effort and the value that you're putting into, you know, giving it to another person. Yeah.
Thank you. If I can add something, I know I'm not making documentaries, but like just from even today, so I got like another piece of answer about that question of like wrapping everything in plastic. So when I visited an organic supermarket in Zushi today, the owner was telling me that, like, I was telling her how in Canada you will never see those kind of like organic vegetables wrapped in plastic. It just doesn't make sense to grow like chemical-free vegetables and then wrap them in chemicals, for example. And she was telling me that like, oh, but like, you know, in Japan, like they have like Japanese people tend to have this habit of like really trying to choose the best veggies or the most beautiful one, and like, so they will sometimes like start touching them or like having a look at them. So that's why it's always like better, we feel it's better if it's wrapped in plastic. And I was yeah, quite surprised by her answer, by this information. Yes. Yeah.
Did you happen to find any like replacements like algae plastic or biodegradable plastics like in your research at all in Japan?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, we did, because, you know, originally, actually, the funny story is that when Clementine and I started this movie, we wanted to make a movie about bioplastic in Japan. And our movie was called Bioplastic at the beginning. And actually, unfortunately, what happened to us is that we realized that bioplastic isn't really a great solution, because you're basically replacing one material with another material that needs to be sourced somewhere, and that then you need to think about the end of life stream of that bioplastic after it's thrown away. What we realize is that most bioplastics that are out there in the world aren't biodegradable. And you know, that first of all is an issue, because if it's not biodegradable, that sort of defeats the purpose. And the next big issue for Japan is that most Japanese communities don't have a composting system where you can throw away your food waste and the city will process it. So that then also means that if you were to get bioplastic and you don't have a compost, then the bioplastic will end up in the burnable waste, which unfortunately doesn't really solve anything. And that's why we did research into some bioplastic options, but I guess we decided for our film, at least, we want to focus more on the zero waste avenue, where you're just, you know, avoiding any unnecessary waste altogether, whether it's plastic, bioplastic, paper. And yeah, but there are some companies on a small scale that are doing this, but there's nothing like, you know, there's not the amazing new product out there that can just replace everything at the moment.
And we asked all of the recycling facilities that we went to, well, what will you do if a bioplastic is handed to you? And the answer always was, we don't know.
Yeah, one thing actually that happens is, unfortunately, if you throw away a bioplastic into a plastic recycling stream, they might just think it's plastic because it looks like plastic. And then it actually ends up sort of spoiling the real, like the fossil fuel plastic that's there, which makes it then harder to recycle the fossil fuel plastic. It basically, each type of waste has its own sort of waste stream of how it will get processed. And, you know, a bioplastic will need its own waste stream and how it gets processed. And unless governments set up a very clear stream of how to deal with the bioplastic, and as I said, that not, you know, most bioplastics aren't biodegradable, unfortunately, we won't be able to really solve the plastic waste issue necessarily by replacing it with a new material. It's very unfortunate, because the idea of like having bioplastics sounds really amazing, and I think for some waste streams, this will still be a good option, but it needs to always go hand in hand with the afterlife. You know, what happens not just with the actual resource where we get it from, but also what happens with it afterwards when it becomes waste. And unless somebody thinks throughout this whole from beginning to end, yeah, it's just going to unfortunately cause sort of a new problem, shifting it from plastic to a different kind of material.
Yes, exactly. So I see the time, it's already almost 9:15. So if you don't have any other question, I suggest to end the talk here. It was really a great night. I really enjoyed. I hope everybody enjoyed. It was really interesting. A huge thank you to Sibylla, Clementine, Pierre and Chin. It was really, really interesting to hear about your projects, insights, and experience, everything. We'll be sharing the crowdfunding links in our follow-up thank you email. So please have a look at your emails in the coming days. Yes, so a big thank you for joining us tonight. Do you have anything you wanted to say at the end, guest?
Well, just I wanted to say thank you everybody for joining. Thank you also for Karina for bringing us all together. And I'm really excited to see your film, Pierre and Chin, and good luck with everything. You guys are doing an awesome job. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Have a great end of evening. Yes? Yeah.
Oh, no, I was just going to say thank you as well. It was such a fun evening. Thank you so much. We're really looking forward to Wara Nihon and wishing you all the very best of luck with your next exciting stages and hoping to join an Ecolocal tour as well at some point in the near future.
Oh, thank you. Yes. If you have any suggestions or also of areas you would like us to kind of like investigate and do a tour, like always, yeah, like share them. We're always looking for other new ideas.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pierre. Merci.
Yeah, and we are also looking forward to watching the documentary from Sibylla and Clementine. Yeah, it looks very nice. Thank you.
Yes, really looking forward.
And also thank you for everyone to join, to share the night with us.
And thank you, Karina. Good job.
Oh, thank you. Really fun. And I'm looking forward next month to maybe have the chance to see how the construction of your mobile house is going.
Next month.
Next month. Yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Again.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye.